Hi, this is Terry Brock with TerryBrock.com. Technology is changing in a wonderful way and giving us the opportunity now to do things that we never could do before. Recently, I had an opportunity to be interviewed by Charles Sachs. He's with WZAB 880 on the AM dial there in Miami, and we talked about a number of things happening, how you have the power today to have your own television station, radio station, newspaper, all of that available, and the kind of things you can do. But what really drives it all is relationships. Relationship, caring for people, working with them. That's what things like social media are really all about. And clout. Our book, Clout Matters, talks about how you work with clout and able to use that to connect with people more. That's really what business is about. So listen to this. You're going to enjoy this interview. Pull up a chair, get yourself a nice luncheon, a nice breakfast, or whatever you want. You take a few minutes and you'll be able to learn a lot as you lunch and learn. There's a good idea. And I will look forward to hearing from you. Drop me a note. At Terry Brock is my Twitter handle. TerryBrock.com, of course, is the website. And guess what the email is? Terry at TerryBrock.com. See, we keep it simple that way. So, hey, I'll look forward to hearing from you. And let me know what you think.
You're listening to Straight Talk on Your Money, and we're on with Terry Brock, an expert in leveraging technology to build relationships in business. Terry, how you doing today?
Doing great. Good to be with you.
Thanks so much for joining us. And very interesting topic when you talk about that. Tell me first off how you really got started in what you do today.
Well, I got started doing what I'm doing really when I was a kid. I was interested in connections and communication, writing, wrote for the high school newspaper, and then actually it was fun. I was writing for a community newspaper also. They liked what I did, and they invited me to go and sent me to Washington, D.C. to cover Nixon's inauguration. So you can do a little math on that to figure out that was more than just a couple years ago.
So your background was really within communications and media from way back when?
Yep, exactly. Radio, newspaper, all that, and then found out about this thing called TV as well. So my undergrad degree came out in all three of those.
And then how did you evolve into helping more business owners or business leaders with their businesses?
Well, as I was finishing my MBA years ago, I was doing a thing with spreadsheets, doing some of the pro forma income statements and cash flow statements, those kind of nifty, groovy things that you do, and helping them. And I saw these computers could do it a lot better. Mm-hmm. So I taught myself how to use the spreadsheets and worked with them, and then just kept evolving. And I think through the years, I've been evolving and changing, realizing new technology comes, new things. Today, it happens to be social media, and I'm amazed with the opportunities and the capabilities and really the power it gives an individual person to get more done.
Got it. And usually we see the people that either they're technology focused or they're outwards focused people, if you will, extroverts. You seem to have both those qualities. I would think that's somewhat rare to be able to speak both in both worlds.
Well, I think it's a wonderful challenge to be able to do that and embrace that. One of the things I enjoy doing is studying history. Like today, I read a book on Napoleon, what he was going through, the challenges that he had, and some of the things he did that were really innovative for his day, and it just flabbergasted the establishment, his enemies, who said, you must do it this way, you must march in this column, etc. And Napoleon, for instance, said, no, we're not going to do that. Actually, I think he used a more colorful French term for it, but he told them he used backpacks, which was revolutionary, put all the supplies and his troops on their backpack. They charged up the Alps, and they beat the tar, I'll use that word, they beat the tar out of those people that they were fighting because they were innovative. And I think that's what we've got to do today. We have certain technologies now that are going to look ancient in a few years, but let's use those and focus mainly on the people and helping people.
And so talk a little bit more about our business listeners out there today. What are things they need to be aware of? What is sort of that top list, if you will, of things that they can use to be able to leverage to help build their business?
Well, obviously, one of the most important things today is what's revolutionizing our world and civilization, and that's social media. Social media and the fact that we can take that, and you think someone can grab a smartphone, and one person with a smartphone can send a message to millions of people. Through Twitter, through Facebook, you can send an email, you can send a recorded message on this over to YouTube, and it can change governments, and literally it is. It's shaking up governments. We see with the Arab Spring, we're seeing it with other places that are trying to block it, but then people figure out ways to work around it, and even here in the United States, governments are saying, no, they shouldn't do this, but it's kind of like trying to stop water that's raging. You can put up a nice little dam, you can put some things down, but enough water, it's not going to stop. And I think it gives us a lot of opportunities to connect with people more than ever.
You're listening to Straight Talk on Your Money. We're on with Terry Brock, an expert in leveraging technology to build relationships in business. And so, Terry, for the business owners out there, I imagine some of them out there perhaps haven't embraced yet really any social media. What's probably your best tip for them to get educated or get started with this?
I think, first of all, be aware of what's going on. It is there. It's not going away. And wade into it with baby steps. One of the things I recommend, matter of fact, I have to put in a plug here for our book that we just wrote called Clout Matters. Clout is a tool that gives you the ability to look at that. And so find out what's going on with social media. Find out how people are using it. For instance, I completed an assignment recently with AT&T, where I was the editor-in-chief for their big blog. We used that blog and social media to really funnel a chain of events. It got connected with people, and AT&T was able to use this through our blog by getting people to write very interesting, non-salesy information. People would read about that in areas where AT&T, for instance, wasn't, and they didn't have sales reps around the world, and it resulted literally in multi-hundred-million-dollar sales and billion-dollar plus sales because people saw it. They found this was interesting. It's much better than just blasting out a message of the old spray and pray. You know, you spray it to everybody and hope somebody will listen. Rather, you target it specifically to key people.
And specifically for many times our business owners, some of them are a little bit older, so this is all sort of new to them. Do they look to bring on someone, maybe full-time or part-time? Do they use an outside resource to get up and running? Do they use someone's kid who's supposedly good with this technology? What have you found maybe most successful for them once they conceptually understand the idea to maybe start moving in the right direction?
I think it's all of the above. It's something that you want to bring in people. High school kids are wonderful. This is why God invented high school kids. You know, you want to bring them in, they can help you on, and I'm serious about that. Okay. You're training them in ways of commerce, how you work, you do good quality work, you do what you say you're going to do, be there on time. These important skills that are not trained in schools. And really, it's hard for schools to do that. But I think that by doing that, you're helping them, and then they can show you how to do things that really, Peter Drucker told us you shouldn't be doing those kinds of things that someone else can do.
Yes,
but you need to be aware of what's happened. Know the language so that when someone says, I'm going to send a tweet over to this person, you don't say, I'll send them a Twitter. It sounds like you don't know what you're talking about. You know, it'd be like someone saying, well, I don't even know how to drive a car. Ha, 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 ha. You know, we wouldn't look at a person and think, oh, I think more highly because they don't know how to drive a car. No, come on. You need to do that. You need to know how to use a telephone. You need to know how to use the basic and essentials of Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and you can learn that very quickly. I know with Skype, for instance, when I was working with them on the project there, that Skype, well, a lot of people found that people accepted it because grandparents love to talk to their grandchildren with Skype. And when they were first scared of it, but when they saw, oh, this is fun. It's not that difficult. I press this button, this one, and they're the kids, and the kids are saying, look, Grandma, what I did today in school. And then we realized, hey, you could also use that in business. You can? Yeah, think about it. You can now talk to these people and see them and save money on a sales call that you have certain times when you're there in person, but other times just for a quick follow-up, you're right there and you're saying, hey, I wanted to get in touch with is the widget working okay? And be able to help them. And using the video really takes communication to another level, which is much more natural. It's the way that we operate as human beings, seeing each other, talking, listening to voice inflections, watching body language. All of that now comes into the realm of doable.
You're listening to Straight Talk on Your Money. We're on with Terry Brock, an expert in leveraging technology to build relationships in business. And I think, Terry, to your point on that, you know, it wasn't so many years ago, it was a little challenging to do if you wanted to do something with Skype over video. You had to get a video camera, you had to get a microphone, you had to do all these things. Now all these MacBooks are on the PC side, they have it all built in. So like you say, you got to load up that software, you press a button, you're ready to go. And I think also with bandwidth and technology, the experience is much better than it has been in the past.
Yes.
And so what are maybe some of the other things, either challenges or pitfalls that you see with business owners when it comes to technology? And talk a little bit more about the business relationship side of things, how they can improve those relationships.
I think that's the key. Charles, what you're saying is so important. It's the relationships with people. Throughout history, whatever technology you're using, if it's a clipper ship or if you're using telegraph or maybe back in ancient Mesopotamia in the bazaars when they were trading, it's connecting with people and use whatever the technology might might be. If it's a camel, well, you're using that just to help people. And so what you want to do is be able to find out, what can I do now to learn enough about that so I'm aware of it, I'm cognizant of what's going on, but at the same time, I'm connecting with people. What some of the challenges that people run into is they have a mindset of, gee, I can't do this, or I'm too old. Today, we've blasted through all of that, even with our technology and our medical research now. We know that the brain doesn't start at one level and then gradually get worse. We know that the brain heals itself. Norman Deutsch wrote a book with that title, The Brain Heals Itself. He's a psychiatrist, and they see that the brain operates in much like if you hurt your arm or you get a cut, it heals, and the brain can heal over that as well. And so what you want to do is keep learning. Never stop learning. As Cavett Roberts said a while back, school is never out for the professional. You keep learning. And I think if you have that attitude, so that as new things come along, you don't go, oh my, the good old days, I wish we were there, whenever that was. And even back then, you give me any time, good old days, we can find a lot of things that were going really bad then.
Wonderful.
Too.
Terry, and I know you talked earlier about that new book, Clout Matters. Tell us just very briefly about that, what you've got going on with that, and why that would be an important read for business owners.
Clout is a way for people to connect with others. It's really a way to measure on a 0 to 100 scale how much influence you have, and for business particularly, to find out who is more influential. So that way you can connect with them. Rather than you saying, hi, I'm wonderful, buy my stuff, you get someone else to help you. It's what we call in the book advocate marketing. So that now I've got highly influential people saying, hey, Terry is really good at this, or this widget is really good. Therefore, when they say it to their followers who are following them and admire them, that's the way to do it. And Clout targets, the way they make their money as a company is they use perks. So for instance, Chevy wanted to reach people about the Volt, and so they wanted to find people that were influential in the area of cars and in the environment. So they were able to determine that through bloggers. And they said, oh, Mr. Blogger, you're really influential in this area. Here are the keys. You can have it for a long weekend and just whatever you want to do. If you want to write something, great. If you want to say something good, great. You do not have to. If you want to say something bad, that's your choice. If you don't want to say anything at all, your choice. Here are the keys. We just want you to enjoy. And so people got that. And then influential bloggers would say, hey, I tried the Chevy Volt and it was, I like this, I didn't like that, etc. American Airlines recently said, you can, if you have a Clout score of 55 or higher, meaning they're pretty influential, we're going to let you stay in our Admirals Club for a full day for free. And you don't even have to fly American Airlines. Just come on by and we'll check you out, because they can check your Clout score. They'll find out what it is, and you're able to come in. So it's revolutionizing the way businesses are dealing with consumers in, I think, a wonderful way.
And Terry, let's go back just a little bit. I thought I was technology savvy, but perhaps I'm behind the curve a little bit. It just the Clout just got on my radar rather recently, and I'm sure there's some listeners out there that it's the first time hearing it. So maybe let's just back up and talk just a little bit about what it is and why it's so important for those listeners that are not familiar with it, and maybe spell it for them as well, because it's spelled a little different way.
Absolutely. It's Clout with a K, K-L-O-U-T, and you can, of course, go to clout.com and be able to see what's there, but it's a way to measure who is really more influential. And for instance, think about it. Suppose you were a director or you're a producer for a major motion picture, and the studios are breathing down your neck. They haven't been doing as well, and they need to do well on this one. They're going to give you $150 million to produce this. So we need some serious returns on this. And you've got 3 actors, actor A, B, and C, all of whom have had some good results, some good roles. They've had some less than sterling roles as well. Which one do you go with? Well, you're trying to influence people to come to the movie theater and pay money for a ticket or to buy the DVD or some way pay it. If you have actor A, who's got a Clout score of 20, actor B, a Clout score of maybe 50, and actor C, a Clout score in the upper 80s, guess what? You're probably going to get more influence, more money coming to you if you work with those who have a higher Clout score. That's where it comes in. And Clout is a way to measure what we before relied only on a gut feeling.
Understood.
Now we can see it.
So it's 0 to 100. Think of it like the Celsius temperature indication. If everybody knows, 100 you're boiling, 0 you're freezing on there. So it's doing the same thing with people that are out there, whereas up until that, one couldn't really figure out one versus the other. I know on some of the social media platforms, there may be actual filters that would suggest people with a certain score or below. I'm not even going to show you their information. Maybe it's maybe they're not on your radar screen, so to speak. So this is something very interesting, and I think it's going to prove to be even more and more important down the road.
Yes, it's helpful for both sides. It's helpful for people because, in a way, it's very much like the FICO score for your credit rating. If you go in, they say, oh, your FICO score is this, it's too low, we can't give you this loan, you'll feel disappointed. But also, you can say, okay, then what do I need to do to improve it? Well, if you go through these steps, you can improve your credit rating. The trick is, with a FICO, that's private. Nobody knows that except you and the bank and those that you reveal it to. With your Clout score, everyone can know it. It's available to the world.
And so in your book, is there a section on that as well that talks about how you might improve that score as well?
Throughout the book, we talk about that. We talk about here's what you can do, here's specifics of people that are doing it, people that we've seen implementing it, and their Clout score in just a few days can jump dramatically, 10 to 20 points, because they really have influence. They just aren't plugged in and connected in the right way with Clout. But Clout Matters, our book, gives them an ability to see how to do that. And really, it's not just about a score. It's about connecting with people and engaging with customers, being a good social media citizen.
Wonderful. You're listening to Straight Talk on Your Money. We're on with Terry Brock, an expert in leveraging technology to build relationships in business. And Terry, if you will, we're going to go in just a bit. Tell people how they can find out more about that book, or if you have any information on a website where they can read about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd think, yeah, do we have a website? I'm thinking we're going to do that. And so we put it together. And the fun thing about it is, Charles, we get to constantly update it and change it because, as with technology, it's always changing. This book in print stays the same. 100 years from now, it'll still be there, but it keeps changing. And so as it does, if you go over to cloutmatters.com, and that's Clout with a K, cloutmatters.com, you'll see the videos, you'll see the training, you'll see options, ways that you can get involved with the book, ways you can get involved with other people who are using it, so you work together. It becomes a community, a real integrated, comprehensive learning experience for social media, for building your bottom line, building business in today's world, and oh, by the way, your Clout score will go up as well.
Terry, thanks so much for being on our show today. It was very insightful.
Charles, great to be with you.